What's up, Average Dad fans? Welcome back to another video, and as pre-warned, this video is focusing on Apple products, and I do speak quite highly of them. Yes, yesterday the Apple event took place from California and many other locations. Apple really do know how to throw a good promo video together. I want to talk about pretty much everything that was released and tell you what I'll be ordering and what you can look forward to. I know I have a very large Android base here on this channel, but once a year it's nice to throw Apple some love. So, without further ado, let's go! Now I know a lot of the features I am about to talk about on all of these devices have been available on some Android devices for years. I know that, but we have to keep an open mind and compare the stats and specs to previous Apple phones and accessories, because Apple only have to compete with themselves. They've proven that time and time again. They are the biggest tech company on the planet. They sell the most units of smartwatches, the most units of phones, the most units of tablets. Apple is king. So again, keep an open mind. This is not a video of me saying the iPhone 17 Pro Max is the best phone ever made. It's definitely not that. But when we compare these devices to previous Apple devices, that's where I think things get quite interesting. But before we get to the phones, I want to talk about a couple of other devices from Apple. First one, the Apple AirPods Pro 3, or Apple AirPods 3 Pro. I have been an avid user of Apple AirPods, as have tens, if not hundreds of millions of people globally, for two simple reasons. The Pros have the best noise cancellation I've ever experienced from earbuds, and secondly, they just work and pair really well with my iPad, my MacBook, my phone. That's kind of less of a need these days because, thankfully, Android and Apple and Bluetooth 5.4, everything seems to work pretty goddamn quick these days, but it's still reassuring to have that quick pair through Apple devices. Now, I could quite happily rock my AirPods 2 Pro for many years to come. However, the AirPods 3 Pro announced yesterday do not just come with slightly better noise cancellation, they come with extra hardware features which I am going to use and definitely benefit from. And you will too. Just hear me out for a minute. As someone that currently has on his desk right now a Huawei Mate XT, an Honor Magic V5, the Google Pixel 10 Pro XL, the Huawei Pura 80 Ultra, the Samsung S25 Ultra. Yes, I should really tidy my desk. But as someone that has all those devices, being able to use my headphones to track my heart rate, track my steps, and over 50 workouts from just the headphones, this is game changing. Because along with all those different phones I use different smartwatches, and I have to continually pair and repair and reconnect all these different smartwatches to whatever device I'm using if I want to continue to track workouts, steps, heart rate, all that stuff. Now that we can do this with just our AirPods, I don't have to worry about changing watches. I don't have to worry about carrying my phone with me everywhere I go. I can have my AirPods to track steps and workouts, which for me is pretty goddamn game changing. Now, as mentioned, paired with even better noise cancellation and even better battery life for the same price, I personally think the Apple AirPods 3 Pro are a very welcome upgrade from the previous generation. And keeping them the same price is kind of a theme of this video, which I really wasn't expecting from Apple. The one slight change I really want to come from AirPods at some point is colours. We are still stuck with the same white and black, predominantly white. I want a black pair. I want my AirPods Pro to match my iPhone Pro, which this year comes in a cosmic orange colour. Could you imagine AirPods 3 Pro in that cosmic orange colour to go along with your cosmic orange iPhone 17 Pro Max? Just a little bit of feedback for Apple. We do like different colours. Other manufacturers do this. Apple could definitely do this. So I did go ahead and pre-order the AirPods 3 Pro because they were available for pre-order right now. I also pre-ordered the next device, the Apple Watch Ultra 3. Yes, the Apple Series 11 watches are here. They talked about them ad nauseum. And to be honest, for the regular Apple Watch, the SE, there are some changes in there. I'm just not a regular Apple Watch, and I'm certainly not an Apple Watch SE user. What I care about is what the Ultra's doing. And for me, the original Apple Watch Ultra is one of, if not still, the best smartwatch around. The second iteration done nothing really for me. However, this third iteration of the Ultra watch with a larger screen and bigger battery, and now available in that black colour, which I know the second one was, but I didn't get the second one. I stuck with the original Ultra. So those three changes for me are enough to warrant an upgrade. Yes, there's the hypertension or blood pressure sensors that have been advanced. There's other sensors and activity. There's satellite communication on all Apple Watch Ultras, no matter where you are in the globe, which is really cool. There's a ton of safety aspects included in your Apple Watch. There's always a nice heartwarming video where they've saved lives, which is great, but for me, I'm kind of aesthetics, and that black paired with that day glow yellow green strap just looks bloody cool. And as mentioned, a slightly bigger screen with thinner bezels and better battery life, sold. So I pre-ordered that for, again sticking with the theme, the same price as the Apple Watch Ultra 2 was. So I have to give Apple kudos for not bumping up the prices, because let's be honest folks, if Apple bumped up the price of the AirPods Pro by £30, the Apple Watch Ultra by £50, 99.9% of the people that were going to buy anyway would still buy. And now we have to talk about the main marquee devices, always every September from Apple. It's the iPhones. Now, I might still have recency bias, but I'm going to go out on a limb and say this is the biggest, best, and most surprising iPhone launch I've ever witnessed. Starting with the base iPhone 17. We now have a ProMotion display, a 6.3-inch ProMotion display on every single iPhone base model. And that base model starts at 256 gigabytes. And, sorry, I know I sound like a broken record, we will get to more specs, but it's the same price as last year. So before I mention any other specs, you're getting the ProMotion display with a larger screen for the same price as last year. But you're also getting about 10 pretty good upgrades, including bigger battery, new A19 chipset, new 48 megapixel ultra wide camera to go with the 48 megapixel main camera, a new 24 megapixel center stage selfie camera, they're calling it, which bins down to 18 megapixels because, and this is probably the coolest aspect of the whole event yesterday, it's a perfectly square sensor, meaning that selfie camera can crop a vertical or landscape selfie. It can also expand to get more people in, and it does it all itself. You don't have to do anything. It recognises when more people join your photo or video, and it'll expand to a landscape mode. You can change between vertical and landscape manually, but everything else it does through AI and Apple Intelligence, I guess. Anywho, iPhone 17 comes in 4 or 5 different colours. It's the same starting price, which I believe is £749 here in the UK. And again, for the 256 gigabytes of storage. I know I've mentioned that a couple of times, but until now, Apple have always offered 128 gigabytes as a starting storage version, which isn't great for those that say, Android do that anyway. No, the Google Pixel 10 series starts, even the Pro lineup starts at 128 gig. So, I'm going to talk about the Pro variants now very quickly. I'm going to run through some changes, upgrades, things to be excited about, and I'm going to save the newest member of the iPhone family till the end. The iPhone 17 Pro and Pro Max are completely different phones. I mentioned this in the Average Dad members chat. You can sign up through Buy Me a Coffee. We were all kind of watching along and commenting as we went. I think this is the biggest upgrade and design change on an iPhone in maybe 5, 10 years, 7. Well, what's the biggest change? Probably going from the 3 to the 4. Is that the biggest change? Or the 5 to the 6? The 17 Pro and Pro Max now have an aluminium uni body. And I know Apple have ran away with their tail between their legs and stopped gushing about titanium because they realise titanium gets hot. They also realise glass backs get really hot when you've no vapour chamber to cool things inside. Anyone that's owned the 16 Pro Max or 15 or 14, you'll notice when you're charging the device, running long 4K videos, or on initial setup, your phone gets really quite goddamn hot. That's because of the materials Apple and many other manufacturers are using. So Apple have realised the error of their ways and gone back to aluminium. However, this is a unibody, one cutout for the whole frame. But importantly, they've left a cutout, which is why every iPhone 17 Pro you can see here is like two-toned, because that's a glass center back so that you can still have wireless charging, Qi 2 wireless charging with obviously MagSafe, but you have far more heat dissipation through the aluminium or aluminum unibody frame, and for the first time on an iPhone, a cooling vapour chamber. Yes, inside here there is a vapour chamber. There is a bigger battery, around 20% bigger than the 16 Pro Max. There's the A19 Pro chip. There's an M1 chip, which basically helps with connectivity, like your 5G and Bluetooth and Thread. I'm not actually sure what Thread is. I think that's an American thing. We don't have it in the UK. You can correct me in the comments if I'm wrong. But many aspects of the hardware and software, internals and externals, have been upgraded. And of course, the most glaring upgrade or change is in the camera bump. It's no longer your usual top left square for the camera housing. It's the whole back of the phone, which I think looks pretty damn cool. And it also offers function over form, because in that raised camera bump, you have your chipset. You have other components, including the center stage 24 megapixel camera system. So that's how they've managed to increase the battery on the iPhone 17 Pro and Pro Max. I didn't even talk about the best feature yet, which for me is the cameras. The Pro Max does get the center stage, but it's also got 3 48 megapixel lenses now. Yes, the telephoto has been upgraded to 48 megapixel, meaning you have a 4 times optical and 8 times optical zoom shots from the iPhone 17 Pro lineup, along with I believe it's 40 times zoom digitally, which is way more than any other iPhone previously. So I'm excited to try and compare those cameras to the likes of my Huawei Pura 80 Ultra or the Vivo X200 Ultra. So if you want to see comparisons, if you're at all excited about me unboxing and using and reviewing the iPhones, please make sure to hit subscribe. And as of Friday, the 12th of September, you can pre-order it at 1 PM UK time. So yes, you can be damn sure I'll be right on there pre-ordering the 17 Pro Max. Which means this will be the last video probably I shoot using my 16 Pro Max. Now, the final phone I want to talk about is the iPhone 17 Air. Anybody that has kept up with rumours and leaks and Twitter or hasn't been living under a rock, you will have known this phone is coming. This phone is confusing. Confusing for a few reasons. This phone is $1,000, which makes it cheaper than the Pros, but more expensive than the Standard. But keep in mind the Standard has dual cameras, the Air has single. The Standard has a near 40% bigger battery than the Air as well. So what are you paying the extra money for? Well, it's titanium rails, ceramic shield 2 on the front, ceramic shield on the back, which by the way I should mention, all of the phones mentioned in this video have ceramic shield as well. But the Air is 5.6 millimeters in size, making it thinner than the S25 Edge, and of course the thinnest smartphone from Apple ever. And I can only go by what Marques and Aaron have been saying about the device. They say it feels super, super premium. But if you watch the keynote closely, along with the Air, and this is a bit worrying, during the promotional segment for the iPhone Air, they very quickly mentioned you can buy an additional power bank designed specifically for the iPhone Air. I'm not sure of the milliampage in the iPhone Air, but I believe it's less than 3,000 milliamp hours. Because with the power bank that they've designed specially and you have to pay for, you're getting the same battery life as the iPhone 17 Pro at around 40 hours of playback time. So without the power bank, which has 3,150 milliamp hours, you're probably looking at around 17 hours of playback time from your iPhone. And folks, 17 hours of playback time is horrendous for a smartphone. So can you imagine using the 6.5-inch Pro Motion display on the Air to game on? How quickly do you think that battery will drain? Keeping in mind, as I talked about already, titanium does not dissipate heat as well as aluminium. There is no vapor chamber in the Air, yet it has a slightly underclocked, one less GPU core, A19 Pro chip inside as well. I can see no world where the iPhone 17 Air doesn't have the worst battery life on any flagship smartphone ever made in the history of mankind. But time will tell until I use the device, which of course I will be pre-ordering the iPhone Air, the iPhone 17, the iPhone 17 Pro Max. I'll probably skip the 17 Pro because I have no use case for it. I use a Pro Max. I like a bigger phone. So really, really interesting and innovative hardware upgrades from Apple, which is not something we can say. We constantly say that Apple don't innovate, yet if you look around, a lot of other phone manufacturers are copying their lock screens, their dynamic islands, MagSafe. Like, yeah. So this whole narrative that Apple don't innovate, it's not true. Apple just tend to release things when it's ready and mainstream. So, as you were warned, this is a positive video about Apple because they deserve their flowers. They're trying something new with the Air. And remember, it's like 1 or 2 weeks of the year that I do iPhone stuff. The rest of the year is all about Android. So for just a couple of weeks, can we try and be patient with Apple and give them their time? And very quickly after that, we'll be right back at it with the Vivo X300 Pro, the Xiaomi 16 Ultra, and many, many, many other phones. If you've enjoyed this video, give me a little like. And until next time,